Hi folks, Darryl Legacy here, Instructional Designer for HACC. This video is a short discussion of some of the updates to D2L over the past few months. For now, we'll just be looking at the changes from August, September, October, and November that are live in the HACC system. There are more updates coming, but larger changes are not usually approved immediately because they can negatively affect courses mid-semester. We'll make another video every few months to talk about later updates. Let's start with the older updates first. You may have already noticed some of these, but there are two important ones from August and another that is helpful but not critical. The most important is that D2L stopped supporting the Brightspace Assignment Grader app. If you already had it downloaded and have been using it, you should be able to continue using it. But it's no longer available to download, and there'll be no future support for it. If you've been using it, this is probably a disappointing development. D2L is trying to move everyone to using regular Brightspace on their tablet or phone since it's been optimized to work on mobile. Students can use the Brightspace Pulse app to see content, assignments, and grades on their mobile devices. The other big change in August was the ability to attach release conditions to individual Dropbox assignments. Release conditions involve a specific condition that triggers the assignment to be released. These conditions can be an attempt on a quiz, a certain score on another grade item, or having visited a certain piece of content, among others. This is one way to ensure your students are accomplishing a certain task before they can move on to an assignment. The last update in August was a small one, but it allows you to make copies of assignments and checklists. If you have several assignments or checklists that are very similar, this is an easy way to make several copies and just revise each copy as needed. September's update added more functionality to the Dropbox tool, letting you add special access. This allows you to give certain students more or less time to see and submit to the Dropbox assignment. You can now set up your notifications so that you can receive an email whenever an assignment is submitted to a specific Dropbox folder. This is probably not something you want to use very often, as it will quickly overwhelm your inbox. But it can be useful if you're trying to grade specific assignments as soon as they come in, like final papers. Or if you have a student working on finishing an incomplete, this will let you know they've submitted something. As of this update, students can now attach files to answers for arithmetic and significant figures questions. When you add one of these questions to a quiz, you can check the button that says, Allow attachments to support answers. This allows a student to upload a document with their answer. This can be useful if you require them to show their work. The final update in September was a big one. Discussion posts now display a word count, both to the student and to the instructor. This can really help if you require a certain number of words in each post or reply. Now, instead of having to copy into Word or some other program to count the number of words, you can see it displayed right in D2L. October only has a couple updates that affect us, and both involve quizzes. The first is that when you make changes to a quiz now, it only affects future attempts. So if you add or edit questions, or change the value of a question, a window pops up explaining that it won't affect any previous attempts. This helps to maintain the integrity of your quizzes so that you don't retroactively penalize a student because of a change you make after they've already completed the attempt. The last update from October allows you to choose a specific quiz section or location when you import questions from the question library. Previously, the questions were just added to the bottom of the quiz, but now you have more control over where they deploy. Most of November's updates are for administrators, or very small changes that won't affect you or your students' experience, but there are a few helpful changes. One involves the Gradebook. When you're in the Manage Grades section, D2L will now display the total points available, both for each category and for the course as a whole. This is especially helpful if you're trying to make sure your categories add up to your expected total, or to make sure your points align with your weights in a weighted system. Another change from November involves quizzes. If you allow for more than one attempt on a given quiz, you have a new option available. Under the Assessment tab, there's now a checkbox that says, On new attempts, only allow answers for previously incorrect questions. If you select this, on subsequent attempts at this quiz, students will only have to complete the questions they missed the first time. On each further attempt, the student will only see questions that were incorrect from the last attempt. This can save them a lot of time, especially if they only missed a few questions. If you want them to have to retake all the questions, including those they got correct, just leave this box unchecked. The final November change is a small one, but may be helpful if you have a larger class. When you go to the class list in D2L, you can now choose to search for a student by an exact match or starts with. The only previous option was contains, which is still a choice. That's it for the updates for now. We'll have more in a few months. If you have questions about any of these updates or anything else related to D2L, contact me or someone else in the CDI team.